Hello, welcome back to another video Watch Review. In this video, we're going to be talking about the Lakers mainly and a couple other things. So, starting off, we see in LeBron return from an injury this weekend. It was pretty spontaneous. He announced it a day or the morning before. I forget. And he's played 2 games since then, and he's gone out with his recent game against the Raptors. And in those 2 games, the Lakers went 0-2. And these teams weren't like the Milwaukee Bucks, or the Sixers, or the Clippers, the Suns, or whatever the team is. These were like the the Raptors and the Kings. Like these teams aren't really good. And I'm not trying to say too much because obviously it's 2 games. You can't judge much of that. But if you're playing healthy, as a championship team, you shouldn't be losing to these teams at least twice in a row. But I don't blame him. His first game back, you got to let him time to adjust. But if he doesn't pick things up, it's kind of bad because right now the Lakers are tied with the Mavericks and the Blazers in the 7th seed. I'll pull up a playoff picture just to show you what it's all about. So as we can see, you have the Mavericks, Trailblazers, Lakers, all tied with a 36 and 28 record. 36-28, 36-28. The point is, one of these teams is going to have to go to that 7th seed, right? And it could be any one of those teams. And these teams have all said something about the planned tournament. Starting with the Trailblazers, a few months ago before the bubble, the Blazers were the only team that didn't agree to the NBA reopening. And the main reason was because they thought they didn't have a chance with the Blazers to make the playoffs. But the NBA added the new rule. It was called the plan game, whatever it was. And this allowed the Blazers to make a chance to make the playoffs. And they were happy with this, and they agreed to that, and they played. We got to see them make that 8th seed, although, they didn't go far. First round exit to the Lakers. It was nice to see them in the playoffs and give them a chance at least. So with the Mavericks, a month ago, we saw Luka Doncic and Mark Cuban complain. They were like, "This isn't fair. We've been trying so hard, and we could just get bounced in 2 games for the 7th seed," which they make a good point. But on the other hand, you have teams like the Warriors, Grizzlies, and Spurs who have also all been trying, and they might not get the playoffs because they lose a game or two in the playing tournament. Uh, and Lillard responded to this by saying, "Yeah, they're only saying that because they're in the 7th seed," which is a great point. Because I bet if the Mavericks had that 1st or 4th seed, whatever it is, like if they clinch the playoffs, they probably wouldn't be saying that. Probably wouldn't be complaining for another team. But since they're in that position, they complain about it. And LeBron, he kind of, he was a bit mad about it because LeBron is never the type of guy who's been on the edge of a playoffs. They're the 7th seed for crying out loud, and these were the championship team last year. I don't blame them, injuries and all, but still, it's hard to see them like that. So LeBron said yesterday, whoever came up with this should be fired, and you fill in the blank. Probably won't be saying that for various reasons, but you get his point. He was kind of mad about it, and he's kind of being a sore loser about it. Obviously, it's not his fault with his injuries and all, and AD, but still, it's a team game. You have to rely on your team. And if your team isn't that good to make that 7th seed, you're in the play-in tournament, whether you like it or not. And why is he complaining about it? He's being a sore loser. That's my point. He's 36 years old. He's been in this league since 03 to 18th year in the NBA. You got to grow up. You can't be complaining like a rookie would, or like Luka or Mark Cuban would. You have to show some respect for yourself and have some confidence in yourself that you can actually get into that playoff spot without losing the playing games, because that's basically as important as the playoff game. So yeah, I don't blame him too much at the same time because it's not his fault. Like I said this, but still, so in my opinion, I do think the Lakers will come out of that probably the 5th seed, following it the Blazers and then the Mavericks. The reason this is because at the Lakers' worst, they've been at the 7th seed, right? So with injuries and all, and at their best, we know that they're a championship team, as we've seen last year. So if they're playing for the next 2 weeks healthy and all, I do think they're going to end up with that 5th seed. With the Blazers, they've also been not playing the best in these past 2 weeks, and at their peak, you have the Lakers at first, then the Blazers, and then the Mavericks. Because most people would agree with that. I do think those teams should be ordered like that. You could argue the Mavericks over the Blazers, but I just see Dame as more of a clutch type of guy and a guy that can make the playoffs. If one of those teams do get bounced into, well, they will. But when one of those teams get done at that seventh seed, I do most likely seeing them coming out in the playoffs, along with the Golden State Warriors, because Steph Curry is a guy you can't see missing in playoffs. And the Grizzlies and the Spurs are good teams, obviously, but they don't. Uh, they aren't there. That they aren't at that playoff level yet. If you know what I mean. Now, along with these three teams, this doesn't have anything to do with it much, but the Knicks are tied with that. They have 36 and 28 record. Same with 36-28, 36-28, 36-28. This doesn't mean anything, but I'm just saying the New York Knicks, a team we saw as a lottery team last year, is tied in record with the championships. Doesn't mean anything. I'm just saying it though. This doesn't mean. They are the fourth team in the East. I do see the Bucks probably clinching the playoffs. As we've seen so far, you have the Nets, Sixers, Suns, Jazz, and Clippers clinching the playoffs. Probably see the Nuggets and the Bucks clinching that. Probably the Lakers too. Maybe in the next, you never know. As they're the fourth seed with a 9-game winning streak in April, they've been one of the best teams this month, along with the Mavericks a little bit too. I definitely see them making that spot at least containing that playoff spot, as in fourth, fifth, or sixth spot. I don't see them falling into that seventh or eighth, because you have guys like the Hornets, Celtics, Pacers, and Wizards there. I probably see the Wizards climbing up a couple spots because this month they've also been really good. They've won 6 or 7 in a row, and now people are talking about Bradley Beal and Russell Westbrook. Like, man, these aren't empty stats anymore. At the beginning of the season, people were saying like, "Oh, another triple double by Russell Westbrook. Oh, another 40-point game by Bradley Beal." But they're not leading to wins, and now they've turned this stuff around. They're making a difference. So if they can start winning a little bit more, and next season you could see them maybe 60 in the playoffs. I could probably see that. Russell Westbrook is a playoff guy. We've seen him lead teams to the playoffs, but he hasn't had much success in the playoffs without KD, and that's a big factor. And the Wizards could easily go into the 8th seed and play the Nets, which will kind of be a little funny. Seeing Russell Westbrook with Bradley Beal playing against that scary big three of KD, Kyrie, and James Harden. And just imagine, I'm not saying it will happen, if Russell Westbrook beats them, like what would that say about Russell Westbrook and KD? You know what I mean? That's got to be something. You know what I mean? The media's going to talk about that for the rest of the decade or something. I'm just saying, it could be crazy. Crazy upsets happen. We've seen that a lot of the NBA. Also, I mentioned the Hornets briefly, and that team could also turn things around, mainly because of one reason, and his name is LaMelo Ball. We know he's a great rookie, and recently he's been out with an injury, and for the past game, he's returned. He had that insane behind the back for one hand, left hand, whatever, pass full court to Miles Bridges. That's on our top 10 plays of the week. If you haven't checked that out, link in the description, or I'll put it right here. And LaMelo Ball, other than his crazy pass, is just a phenomenal player. And he was the favorite for Rookie of the Year until he got injured, and that spot has been taken over by Anthony Edwards. And I definitely see him holding that spot, probably for the rest of the season, because I definitely see in those couple games, LaMelo Ball is probably not gonna turn around and win Rookie of the Year, because you can't do much in a couple games. It's crazy to see that couple games playoffs. You have 2 weeks less, or even. I doubt you can really turn things around like that, because it's a hard award, and Anthony Edwards has been amazing this season. Amazing rookie. He's been balling in the fourth quarter recently. Yeah, pretty much it. So thanks for watching. Make sure to leave in the comments ideas or videos or something. Like, subscribe, share with a couple friends, and peace. See you.